see Alan, so I'm gonna go ahead and we'll just, I guess, get started on the agenda. Adrian, have you heard anything about anyone being late or anything?
Can you hear
Besides,
me? Can you hear me?
yes.
Oh, good. Okay. I don't think this is working. This is so weird how I have this set up. But so Sharika, I'm gonna fill in for her. That's
Uh-huh.
the
Yep.
update that I have. I don't know about anyone else.
Okay. I didn't know if she had mentioned anyone here. Okay.
No, she didn't mention anyone else.
Okay. I was expecting Ruth to be here, but I don't,
See.
she might just have to pop in late. I'm not sure. Um, so the first thing on the agenda, actually, Adrian, do you mind going first and maybe
Sure.
Ruth? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I am going to go to the homeless services job fair. So
Mhm.
we're looking for suggestions in terms of securing a location for the job fair. So if anybody has any suggestions, please feel free to share them because that's where we're at in the planning so far. Do you want me to go down to the next update or do you
Yeah,
want
if
to?
you want to just do all of your stuff, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Well, I have a question about that. Like, how many people, what size place are you looking for? Things like that. Sorry to.
Um, that's a good question. I don't know I'm literally just a mouthpiece today, so I don't know
Fair.
if I
That's
can answer
fair. I'm
any of
sorry.
that. No, that's okay, but Sharika will be able to answer it, but that's what she wanted to share, that we're in the process of looking for a location.
Well, that's fair.
Um, and then the next one is,
Can I ask, is the job fair for people who are homeless seeking a job or job fair for people seeking to work with the homeless?
Yes.
people seeking the work.
Yes. We
Okay.
have a capacity issue in our system because we have a lot of turnover and a lot of people who've left to do other work. Sharika, or I'm not sure, she presented the idea, but I'm not sure if it was her idea. I don't want to say one way or the other, but that we have a homeless system um, job fair to see if we can get some of these positions filled so we can do better about serving.
About how many positions are there to fill? Or is that a Sharika question?
No,
Well,
there's, I mean, across agencies, I think it's
yeah,
multi,
it's not
like,
just one agency that
yeah.
will be hiring. All the agencies really have a capacity issue. So those are good questions though. So when we create a flyer,
Yeah.
kind of information, that's good feedback.
I've seen job fairs be successful at Goodwill, depending on the size. You know, they're
Okay.
on university. And then I was trying to think, there's some other places. But they are part of the
I've
COC.
been Yeah, and I've been to the Armory before. We had a Homeless Connect project there one time. One of
Oh, yeah.
the Armory on Silas Creek. I don't know if that's even available or option. I don't know, but that's someone we've done events before.
Even Haines Hosiery might be a good location,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like a community room.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, but Goodwill, that's a good suggestion. And then the only other update I have is that concerning ESR, we're unclear on how they wish to move forward, although we know that they're selling buildings and have pulled out of any housing servicing grants moving forward. So they will fulfill their obligations to the ones they have now, but moving forward, um, that's going to be it.
Okay. Um, thank you, Adrian.
No problem.
Um, so it looks like I'm the rest of the show here today, except for Ruth, if she is able to join us. Um, so I'm looking at the agenda. Um, as far as winter shelter updates go, there's still, I think they've got the white flag open pretty much this whole week. They've had it open, um, because of the cold, ultra cold weather. And I know we're having a little bit of warmth next week for winter. I think we're supposed to be in the 60s last I looked. So I'm sure there'll be a few days next week that the White Flag Shelter is not open. And we have a winter shelter for families who have been found to be living on the street or in their cars. Um, um, for 21 families, which is at capacity, as you can imagine. And then we also have a small amount of White Flag options, short-term stays, in for the same reason going on as well for families only and who have been on the street. They have to be literally homeless on the street to enter into those that emergency shelter. As far as encampments go, I'm sure you've all heard that they're just growing by leaps and bounds almost. And also, there has been some violence in the recent past at a couple of places, gun violence. So they're becoming increasingly dangerous. And that's a big concern. But we're trying to meet the needs of folks right now. Let's see. So as far as the pit count goes, we have, which is the point in time count that we do, that we're required to do every other year, at least, by HUD every year on the last Wednesday of January, which happens to be January 31st this year. And there are some strong concerns about safety of volunteers, because people going out in the dark to encampments. And we actually have heard from, I received an email today from that I was hoping Ruth could talk about, but I received an email today from Lee Tolberry, who, as you know, is the assistant director. That's right. Assistant director at City with Dwellings. And she said that City with Dwellings outreach staff will not be participating in the site visits on the night of the pit count. It's too dangerous. In light of the recent shootings, we strongly suggest that volunteers are not asked to be out after dark in areas other than downtown and public spaces, for example, sheets or spaces such as that. Of course, City with Dwellings is still available with us, City with Dwellings board member and staff on site from start to finish. So that's their stance at this point. They are not going to participate in encampment counting, and they strongly encourage us to reconsider that as well. There is an option to do a pit count. It's sort of a hybrid option where you don't go out and count people that night. There's a lot of places that have to email or report data from the shelter, that we do that, of course. And then you can also count people over the next 7 to 10 days by going out in the daytime and talking to people and saying, hey, where were you on Wednesday? Where did you stay on Wednesday? And getting numbers that way. And that is being strongly encouraged by many people, although there is some pushback that it's too late that we can't change things. And we've got 2.5 weeks till I don't know that not changing I think we can change. And I'm worried about asking volunteers to go into unsafe spaces. So I'm just lifting that up here. And there's a meeting tomorrow about PIT. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about what I've just talked about?
Sounds like a legitimate concern to me.
Yep.
Sounds like a legitimate concern. Safety always has to be, prioritized.
Safety isn't something that you have to respond to safety concerns like that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So the conversation is still being had as to where we'll land on.
The planning meeting is tomorrow at 11, and we're trying to give everybody who's attending that meeting a heads up ahead of time about this concern, so we can all bring ideas to the table about what contingency plans we need to make.
That's good. Okay.
Okay, let's see. If there's no further questions or concerns about that. The other thing I was going to talk about, which Sharika pointed out, and I didn't notice when I sent out the schedule, is that due to the way February falls, you know, where our meetings are like the third Tuesday or the third Wednesday or whatever, that the first Thursday of the month makes it so this meeting is actually before the operating cabinet meeting, or the operating cabinet meeting. So we need to bump this meeting to the 22nd next month, but we need to actually vote on that, I guess. Somehow someone needs to propose a vote on that. Is that okay with everyone?
So you need someone just to say, I propose we move
Yeah.
next month's meeting to the
And then
22nd.
someone to second it, yes.
Well, I propose we move next month's meeting to the 22nd.
Thank you. Can someone second that?
I second that.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. It looks like, so I know that Ruth was going to talk about the support. As you can see, the last item on the agenda, they're just asking for support to come to the city council meeting at 4 o'clock on the 13th, just so we can show our support for what Sharika is going to be proposing. Is that for funding? I'm trying to remember what she's going to talk about. Do you remember, Adrian?
Was it their action group? The plans that they came up with in their action group? I think it was relating to that, no?
Like I said, Ruth was going to talk about it, so I don't remember exactly. I do know that she is asking for support, so I'm sure there'll be an email about it coming out. So if anyone can get to that meeting, I'm sure it would be important, because I know Sharika wouldn't ask that without good reason. So
that's a Tuesday, February 13th at 4 p.m.
yep, at city does it say? Yep, council chambers. Yep.
Council chambers.
So can I ask, how do you find out what are the requirements for opening a white flag?
Oh, I can tell you that.
Oh, okay.
Actually, so white flag shelter will be opened when it is 32 degrees or below.
No, I know the rules around when white flag
Oh.
opens. There's a person on Facebook who is proposing that she has a building and she wants to open her own white flag.
Oh,
And she's just saying that she's going to open tonight. And
do you know her name?
Velma Bowen.
I think you have to be licensed to do that. Is
Well,
that
I
not
thought-
Adrian?
I thought so, but I don't know. She may have received information that she didn't have to have a permit because her building is residential.
But this is something that's sanctioned through HUD guidelines, you know?
I mean, so I don't think it's a good idea, but
She doesn't
it's
want to call it a white flag shelter. You sure that's what she's doing?
I'm 100% sure.
Do you know how many people she's wanting to be in her space? Because I think that how many people?
There's fire codes and
She's just said that she wants the women and the children that are on the street, and that didn't seem safe to me either. She just made a Facebook post, and people are planning to go and volunteer, and I don't think it's safe, and I don't think it's a good idea, and I don't know how to say that without sounding
Right. People are like, oh, you just don't want us to help you. Yeah.
I've been arguing with people because there's a group that's handing out blankets, but you got to let them take a picture and post you, and there's a lot of confusion happening with our folks that are unhoused. But I also don't want people to flock to this new shelter thinking that there's something that's a
I
saving grace for them, and then they miss out on actually being able to get the city with dwellings
right,
to
right. Um, you know, I don't know if you know the address, but is it in the city limits?
Mm-hmm.
Is
I
there
don't.
not an ordinance about this, Adrian, about providing shelter? Wasn't one of the churches fined for that?
Yeah,
Because one person was sleeping on their property, not even in a building. One person was sleeping on their property under a bush, and a neighbor complained, and this church got fined for providing shelter.
right. You said
So,
the woman's name is Velma Boeing?
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up on my
I wonder if
Facebook right now because it was shared in a group that I'm in,
okay,
and I actually have a connection to her, and I called her, and she was like, "Yeah, sure, that's what I'm doing," and I was like, "I don't think that's what you should be doing,"
right,
um, but she was kind of adamant, and I also didn't know a way to say it without sounding like I was just trying to be argumentative.
sure.
It is Velma Velma Martin Bowens Bowens,
I see her.
and she made the post about. Well, it was posted in my Facebook group about 17 hours ago, so I think her post was about 18 hours
Okay, I see it. It says, so Facebook, I need help pulling something off. I want to house some homeless families at my building through these next few cold nights. I need help. And then she's tagged somebody has gone out and purchased over 20 blow-up mattresses, and another group will provide transportation. I need blankets, food, cash donations. I don't care if it's $1, and volunteers. I have a full service kitchen to feed. Let's love on our community, and then she gives the address, and you can start dropping off supplies after 8 a.m. And she's had 69 comments.
And I know that she had someone go up to City with Dwellings this morning and ask them just to bring the women over. And Chris, who was a monitor last night, I work for City with Dwellings overflow shelter,
Okay.
um, but only for the overflow shelter. But anywho, Chris was the monitor, and he told her she needed to come back and speak to Lee because he wasn't, because she wanted him to use their transportation, and he was like, absolutely not. Um, and it wasn't her in the car. She was on speakerphone with somebody else that she had go up there. So I don't know if she went and spoke with Lee, but I know that this information is getting out because it's in like 3 different groups that I'm in, and I just don't think it's safe for our community members. Um, I mean, it's a good idea if she wants to actually partner, but there's like rules and stuff.
Right. And they're there for a reason. I mean, I know sometimes things get bureaucracy and we can't help people because of rules and regulations, but we got to keep people safe. Karen, can you text Lee and ask her if this woman spoke to her?
Sure.
Thank you for speaking up about this. I don't know where it'll go or what's going to happen or anything, but at least we should be aware of it. Okay. Was there anything else on the agenda? There's nothing else on the agenda that I can speak on. Were there any more questions, concerns about anything we shared already or anything else? Nope. All right, hearing none, we'll just move on and bid you all a wonderful afternoon. And we will look into this situation and see if there's something that we need to do to keep people safe.
Renee,
Thanks,
thank you for
everyone.
lifting things up. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yep.